As soon as you think that you safe, I'm still in the race, so don't fall asleep. Don't wait around. I'm on my way. I'm on the prowl. Don't fall asleep. I don't forget. Trying to keep me out. I'm already in. So don't fall asleep. Oh my God.
Alright, ladies and gents.
Welcome, motherfuckers.
This is part 3 of Elon Musk.
Let's hear this shit.
Let's listen in
Enjoy.
with some zombies.
My dick.
Like Camilla, that's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, well, maybe it's like I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the future is going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach new heights that make you proud to be an American, and excited about the future.
They want the American dream back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like you don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. The Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent, and when I debated him, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was.
Yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We could build high-speed connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. It's possible to solve traffic with tunnels. We've already made great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. It's deep.
Yeah,
you don't even need much structure. Assuming you're in the right area.
No, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So like I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high-speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high-speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high-speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an American.
And much safer than surface trains, where there is a danger there, with crazy people. Yeah. It's much safer, much better. And, it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating. And I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains, they call them, I guess. And they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's, I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take this sort of like I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's lives. And
I worked very hard on that. We got that down to the lowest number ever. And we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And, it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly. It's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. It just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and you end up in the same with the approval, but it just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months. That improves people's lives. I think, but I just wanted to hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year. And you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever. And then we just ossify as a society. We can't make any progress, and it's a really big deal.
Elon, just getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in, and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. But people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can, you basically, look, nobody wanted it. The doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list. If somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative. Okay. And as you know, we got it done. We have saved Right to Try. They've been trying to get this done for 58 years, and it sounds simple, but it wasn't, because it's, the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done. Sure. Somebody signs. You sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country. You're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done, and we're saving tens of thousands of lives. Right to Try. Hopefully, you never need it, but if you do, you don't have to travel to Asia. People, if they had money, they go to Asia, they go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They go home and die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S. Yeah. I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they just couldn't get it done, and I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that, generally speaking, would work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
You're right.
And I think so, as long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons, and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision. That makes sense.
Well, I think just, in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous, because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. What is the number? Wow. What is it?
Well, wow. I think in terms of people,
that's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70, and I guess over a period of time. Hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
Well, I think actually because the number of people that will share this conversation over the next few days to weeks, it's going to be hundreds.
That's what they say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an honor. But I just asked this: are you better off now, or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that, and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it, and they also feel very unsafe. You look.
Okay, so far, bro, like all I'm hearing is like the same shit over and over and over again. Like I'm just wondering why Elon's not asking him more, specific questions, questions that everybody wants to hear, as opposed to like the stuff that Trump normally gets asked about and he's answered a million times before. Because is it not starting to sound a little bit repetitive? What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, no. He does go into depth a little bit on a couple of things.
They're talking about subjects you need to talk about. It needs to be talked about. Can't avoid it.
I'm saying like they could have.
They talked about the high-speed rails. Okay, that's not really that repetitive. That was a big conversation. That was most of it. What else did they talk about that was repetitive?
The inflation stuff.
Okay,
they
gotta hammer that home, bro. They have to. The inflation is nuts. Everything went up by 50%.
I know. I just thought everybody already knows that stuff.
Okay, what else they talk about? But the high-speed rail, that's crazy. Everybody's infrastructure is way more advanced than ours.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what they were talking about, and even Musk said it. He was like, our spending is horrible. They hit on spending.
Yeah.
Because, bro, people don't understand and you have to keep saying it because people don't fucking understand. We spend all this money on wars. We spend all this money on nonsense garbage, and yet our infrastructure, our fucking society is decaying.
And
Instead of upgrading our lives to the 21st century, we're becoming a third world nation. We have to fucking upgrade. We have to stop spending money and bring that shit back home and upgrade. So he was like, bro, look at China. Elon Musk was like, look at China. Their infrastructure, they got high-speed rails. They got everything brand new. And we're over here.
Bro, if you look at New York City's fucking metro, you see that shit?
Crazy.
It's disgusting.
Just take a look at our transportation. We're a third world nation. Anyways, anything else to input? What else do you think about that?
I think that's it. Let's hear what else.
Not only that, but Musk also said that, like, for example, Europe has a lot tighter regulations than the U.S.
In terms of what?
In terms of the drugs getting approved and shit like that. So if a drug is approved in Europe, it's like considered to.
Oh
be,
yeah, that was another big thing they talked about.
And not only that, but that also affects the food over there. Like the food in Europe, I feel like is way better than the U.S. because they don't let shit like that slide in terms of ingredients and processed shit. They don't use any of that. Like in Italy, bro, it's all fucking clean, fucking effort.
It's all organic, bro.
Yeah.
It's all organic. They outlawed GMO. They outlawed this fucking synthetic meat bullshit.
Because they give a fuck about people.
But here, we don't give a fuck. You're just eating chemicals.
Yeah.
We're all getting fucked here, bro. We gotta worry about so many things.
All right, let's continue with the video.
Continue.
You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. Maybe I'll call it Kamala migrant crime. But
you know, I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And you know, my mom lives in New York, and I was like, you know, Mom, you know, have any of your friends, you know, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, 3 of her friends in 3 separate incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets in New York. And I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
they always get away.
Nothing's going. And they don't even bother reporting it because they know that they're not going to, you know, people are not going to get prosecuted. They just let, you know, violent criminals out in New York.
The only one that gets prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are being getting off scot free, and meanwhile that the you know, New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like what this, you know, and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and said, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. You know, the legal system is supposed to be protecting the public from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to, you know, some you know, legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of, you know, going after their political opponent, and that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent, and then you get a judge who's, you know, a strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that in many cases crooked as hell. But you get a judge, and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and you know you'll have a jury pool with 8 Republicans or hate. It could also be the other way, though, because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats, and you get into a Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing. New York City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So you know, all of that stuff is important. But the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back down. We're going to get rid of inflation.
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right, absolutely.
So,
and I just want I want to congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. You know, we can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
It's kind of you to say thank you.
Tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty. I'll say it. So it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I congratulate you.
I mean, thank you. And well, I mean, I just to say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot.
I think that's a very real risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
It's a very real risk.
Yeah.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before, and if you look at my record, I've actually been. I'm not like sometimes they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and solar and batteries helping with the environment, and I actually I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president, and so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I call myself. Historically a moderate Democrat, but now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country, I think a lot of people thought the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not, and obviously we're just going to see an even further left administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. She was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not we're not making this up. That's how she was brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous. And I think we're just at this critical juncture. And I think this is a case of America is going to at a fork in the road, and
true.
And I think it will take if the path, like you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. And that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself. But I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left. So this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you. And, I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's
Yeah.
even more of an honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But, when you think of her, San Francisco 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America. And now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn this country around. We're going to do things and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone-cold killers in many cases, and terrorists. And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take them out.
Yeah, I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system, just stop the lawfare, and I think that's like, and how are those even right-wing positions? I think those are that's just common sense, and that's I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand. They call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country, okay? So you and I will go and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela because that's what's happening. Their crime rate's coming down and our crime rate's going through the roof, and it's so simple. And you haven't seen anything yet because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. And they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this. We have great police. We have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely. And it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes. And then you arrest the violent criminal and then the DA, doesn't prosecute and then just let the guy out. Well, in like,
Bro, What they're talking about right now, the number of fucking people coming into this country is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we got more military age males than like our fucking army, our entire army put together. Millions. What do you say? Like over 20 million people came in?
Yep.
Dude, that's absolutely insane. Like, oh, whoa, whoa.